Okay, what's your name?
My name is Romana Kafete.
All right, and I guess you don't want to say how old you are.
Yeah, I am. I
That's
don't
the
mind.
number. Okay.
I am between 45 and 47.
Okay. There we
I
go.
don't know my birthday. So
Oh, really?
Really,
Oh,
I was
wow.
born and raised in Africa.
Oh, really?
Nobody cares about birthdays, so
So you just kind of guessed a year?
you guess it. Yeah, I assume I'm between 45 and 47.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Where in Africa were you born?
I was born and raised in Ethiopia,
Oh, okay.
East Africa.
So, and then how did you grow up, or like where did you grow up? Your name?
My name is Romana Kafete.
And how old are you?
I am between age 45 to 47. I don't know my exact birthday.
And why? How come you don't know your exact birthday?
I was born and raised in Ethiopia, East
Okay.
Africa, and people don't really keep birthday records. And I also lost my mom when I was 5 years of age,
Wow.
so I really didn't have anyone to tell me my exact birthday, so I
When
grew up
did you
not knowing.
When did you figure it out?
I didn't really figure it out. That's why I'm between 45 and 47.
Yeah. Well,
You
how
know.
did you know that was like the years? You
Uh,
just figured you were around like 10 years old.
I
or-
was told when my mom passed away, I was like between age 5 and 6 or so,
Okay.
and it's been over about 40 years since she passed away.
Uh-huh.
So I just go by her death instead of my own birthday.
Oh my gosh.
You know, assuming that I was 5, I could be 45.
Yeah.
Assuming I'm 6 or 7, I could be 46 or 47.
Oh
so
my gosh.
I really go by when my mom passed away than like my exact birth month or year or anything like that.
Yeah. Has there been any complications like with your driver's license or anything, like you have to write down your birthday or?
Not really, because when you come to the United States, they ask for your birth certificate.
Uh-huh.
So you just take your neighbors to the city hall, and they become witnesses of knowing when I was born,
Uh-huh.
the year or the month or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And then based on that, I'll always get everybody could get a birth certificate, but it doesn't mean that's their birthday really. It just
Oh.
means they think that's how old they are,
Yeah.
and then you'll give that to the embassy, and they take it as if it's your birthday. And based on what I've provided for birth certificate,
Uh-huh.
I'm actually 43.
Oh, okay.
But
So when's your
Okay.
birthday on your certificate?
on my certificate, it's February 2nd, 1969.
Okay.
But that's a little bit off from, you
And
know.
what made you choose that day?
I really don't know. I just know I had to provide a birth certificate
Mm-hmm.
to the embassy, and I asked and how old I could be, you know.
Yeah.
And so based on that, I went ahead and got the certificate. But I think knowing my mom died on a certain year, and how old I was then, I am a little bit older than what my birth certificate says.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Let me make sure it's right. Okay. So, yeah, so you grew up in Ethiopia,
Yes.
and how did you get here? Like, where have you lived, or where did you move?
I came through an immigrant visa called DV.
Okay.
It means diversity visa.
Okay.
They have a diversity visa every year. I think between 20 to probably 50,000 people from all over the world come to live in the United States permanently.
Mm-hmm.
And I petitioned for that program, and then randomly a computer selects names of people from different countries. I happen to win that. It's a lottery. It's like a lottery. I happened to
Wow.
win it 23 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
And so I came through that diversity visa program.
So you think you're around 4 to 7, or you're 5?
No,
What was your age when you?
like when I
did
came
it?
here, That was 23 years ago, so I was 23 or something, 23 or
Oh
24,
yeah, wow,
you
my
know.
math. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah.
I'm thinking you were wow.
You know, I look a lot younger.
Yeah, my brain.
Yeah, yeah, I can take that. Thank
So,
you.
what was your first impression when you moved here? Or,
My first impression was like, you know, I came to Los Angeles. That's the airport I arrived to,
it's a big one.
and it was a big one. You know, just it was at night, and all the lights and everything. It's like a taste of heaven. You know, it's my first flight. You know, to like in my life, I have never flew
Oh, wow.
anywhere before
What was that like?
It was wonderful. It felt like, you know, I came all the way. It's like maybe a 24-hour, you know, flight.
Yeah.
Although we stayed overnight in London,
Yeah.
and then flew again to Los Angeles the next morning. It was my first experience flying, but I also was crying the whole time because I was separated from my family,
Oh my
and I'm
goodness.
going to this unknown place,
Yeah.
you know. So it was hard, but then when I arrived
Goodness.
in Los Angeles, the sky, the lights, and you know, it was just an amazing scene.
Yeah.
It was an amazing experience. So
Totally.
I remember even after we got off the plane, and my aunt picked me up, my aunt-in-law picked me up from the airport, and on our way to their house, I was looking at the road, and it seemed that as if the road has these sparkling lights, but I guess it's just when the headlight, you know, is lighting on the white little things on the road. It shines, and
Yeah.
I thought it was lighting up, but it's a reflection of the light from the
Yeah.
headlight, and
Oh my
it's
gosh.
just the whole thing was so exciting, and I will never forget the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have any problems adjusting to the culture here or figuring out American culture and you know how it all works?
Yes, it was, you know, a few weeks after I arrived, I had to look for a job because I didn't speak English,
Oh wow.
and because I didn't have a job experience before that, and just being new in general, it was hard to find a job. And to begin with, it was a recession time. It was a war time. There was war between America and Kuwait. I think at that point it was 1990, and there was a recession and all that. So people that speak English and that have a lot better experience are looking for the same job that I'm looking to get,
Yeah.
and it was hard.
Yeah.
It was very hard to. So it took me a while to find my first job.
Oh my gosh. So what was your first job, or what did you get into?
My first job was working at a family dining in Ontario, California,
Okay.
and it's like I was washing this towel to roll for silverware. Like
Okay.
people use it as a napkin, and I wash those and dry it, and then roll the silverware with it, and put it on a tray and pile it on a tray, and leave it at front where people, you know, kind of go in circles and pick up their food.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was my first job.
Gotcha. So how did you get to Washington then?
Eventually, because of the difficulty of finding a regular, like maybe full-time job, I was talking to a friend that I used to know in Ethiopia. She lived in New Jersey, and she kept telling me it'd be better if I came to New Jersey or New York area to find a job. And so after a year of trying in California, I moved back to East Coast, and then I stayed there. I worked, and I went to school in stuff in New York, especially for about 3 years. But I found New York to be very either cold or very hot in the summer.
Oh my gosh.
And places that I could afford to live, which I used to live in Upper Harlem, they call it, or Spanish Harlem,
Mhm.
and it's not the nicest neighborhood. And I used to work in Harlem, Kentucky Fried Chicken,
Really?
and get off from work at 2 a.m. in the morning,
Oh my
and it
gosh.
wasn't, and take the
Safe
bus
or-
or whatever,
yeah.
So I found New York to be like not a city for poor people at all. Like it may be such a fancy city with a lot of art and everything
Mhm.
that you could enjoy, but that's just reserved for certain people,
Yeah.
So it just felt like as if, that wasn't the America that I came to live in.
Mhm.
So with the weather and the poor condition of my neighborhood, and
Mhm.
then I was kind of pregnant with my first child, and I didn't want to give birth to my child in Harlem. Really, it
Mhm.
wasn't a neighborhood that would be good for her.
Yeah.
So I decided to move out of New York, and I didn't even really know where, but I kept asking people like what
Mhm.
state, what cities are, has a better weather, better job opportunities, and things
Mhm.
like that. And a few people mentioned Atlanta, like Kansas or whatnot.
Mhm.
And then Washington
Oh wow.
came up, and so that's how I just randomly picked Washington State.
Oh my gosh.
Uh,
So you didn't know anyone
One
out
of my
here?
reasons being, if I don't like it in Washington, I can always move down to back to California, where
Yeah.
I started.
Yeah.
So based on that,
That's
I decided to move to Washington.
Okay. And did you know anyone out here when you first moved here?
I didn't know anyone, but I knew some people in New York uh, that knew a few people here in Seattle area.
Uh-huh.
So they kind of helped me get connected to those people that helped me when I first arrived.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So you have a husband, right?
Yeah, I have a
Okay,
husband.
so
I have
when did you
4
meet him?
kids. We met when I was in 11th grade, and
Okay.
he was a second year college student back
Okay.
in Ethiopia.
Ethiopia?
Yes.
Oh, so did he come over here with you?
No, he didn't. But we got married about 3 days right before
Oh, okay. See what time it is.
Slash
Where we
before
at?
falling asleep.
12 minutes. Okay, yeah. It's like 10 minutes.
Yeah. So we should I continue?
Yeah.
Just wait
Okay.
till the wind
Oh.
finishes.
Yeah.
Shit. Alright. Go ahead.
Yeah, we met like when I was in high school, when he was in college, but we got married 3 days before I left my country.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Wait for her to do her thing too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of background noise on this, but it's clean background noise. It's the weather. It's not static. So
Yeah.
it'll be enough that we can either drown it with music or. Yeah,
Sure.
I think we're all right.
Okay. Okay. Wait for her.
I don't know. I've actually never done this outside before. I've never tried to do it outside before, just because I knew all this stuff. But inside, like the radio frequencies that bounce around get picked up on the mics, and then like the vents are even worse than the wind sometimes.
Yeah.
Plus, you don't have cars driving up inside.
Yeah. Okay. So when did you meet your husband?
I met him when I was in college. I mean, when he was in college.
Okay.
I was in high school,
Uh-huh.
junior year. Then we got married 3 days before I left Ethiopia to come to United States.
Okay.
And then as soon as I arrived here, I petitioned for him to come and join me.
Uh-huh.
And it took about 3 years and 3 months
Wow. Wow.
for them to let him come. So
Oh my gosh.
yeah, it was a long wait,
Wow.
but he finally did. And less than a year after he came, I was pregnant with my first child,
Wow.
and that's when we decided we don't want to like stay in New York City
Yeah.
and have our child in the neighborhoods that we didn't like very much.
Mhm.
And I'm glad we made that decision because Washington is totally different than New York, and
Mhm.
beautiful, and lots of job opportunities and all that. So
Yeah.
it was a good move.
Completely different feel.
Yes.
Okay, so why are you at Lake Washington Tech?
I am at Lake Washington Tech because I'm interested to learn a lot of like internet marketing stuff. And I think internet marketing involves creating websites and creating video, all kinds of information products, really.
Mhm.
So I thought I could gain.
I feel like I'm 6 years old. It's like,
That's
Mom,
okay.
car!
Yeah.
Brady runs out the street.
I guess I'll just say, why are you up?
Okay.
Oh, wait, is it?
Yeah. I think it's that time we might wrap it up because
Yeah.
people are going to be leaving a lot.
Okay, so why are you at Lake Washington Tech?
I came to gain skills that would help me to become really knowledgeable internet marketer. I wanted to get involved in internet marketing, creating information products, and that involves websites, and it involves a lot of video recording and things. So I'm here to learn the skills that would serve me to become a better internet marketer. I write a lot. I've published 2 books already,
Oh, wow.
and I
Don't look
get
at the camera.
booked as a inspirational speaker, as a motivational speaker in a few places. So to kind of combine all of these things together, and I figured it'd be good to have the skill that this school offers.